once you are labeled a survivor, most people around you, they just have no idea that you're still struggling. And don't get me wrong, we are so grateful that we survived, but surviving is not thriving.
And that's our core mission, to empower you to love yourself and know you are stronger and more beautiful than ever before. We see you, we understand, and we are here to help.
Everybody, it's Jillian
and Michelle,
and welcome to Tip Tuesday. We feel very blessed that we are closing out the month with the amazing Annette Tello. We've been so blessed to have her absolutely this month. She is a counselor. She is a cancer survivor specialist. She's a life coach, an author, an artist. She specializes in working with cancer patients and survivors, and she helps survivors move forward in their lives with her signature personalized programming called Thriving After Surviving. So we've been very blessed to have her. And today we're going to talk about fear and the survivor, which is a really big subject, the scanxiety and the fear and everything that we feel. However, before we start, before I ask you, Michelle, if there's any housekeeping, I have to do some housekeeping.
Okay.
So here we go. Here's my housekeeping. So, October is around the corner, and we know that October means it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So what we want to do to honor this month is we're going to bombard our social feeds with all the women that we have served, all the fighters, all the angels that have passed, all the survivors. So you will see them everywhere on our social. So please follow, send love, give us your comments, and we're happy to celebrate them. And then also we have 3 promos. Number 1, the sexiest beauty. And I'm going to talk more about this another time. But just so you know, starting October 1st, $10 from every product that you buy goes directly to Beautiful Self. That is huge, Heather. That is such an amazing thing, right? $10 of every product for the entire month. So there's that. There's Kaliata.com. Kaliata is a 2-time cancer survivor. She's an amazing jeweler, and she has a beautiful collection. Go on Kaliata.com. It's very affordable. It's very beautiful. We'll be posting about it. 20% of all sales from Kaliata.com will go to Beautiful Self. So shop Kaliata. And then we have kind of a cool one from Bald Guy Greeting Cards. And we're going to be showing you what that's about during the month. But he has these really fun cards. For the entire month of October, not only are you going to get 20% off of the cards by using a special code that we're going to give you, but he's going to give Beautiful Self 50% of all the proceeds for the month of October. So your thank you cards, your holiday cards. I mean, you know what? We are a little nonprofit, so we depend on you to keep serving. So we're going to be bombarding you this month and showing you ways to help. Amazon Smile, please donate. We understand you have a lot of choices, but anything you can do so we can keep continuing to help our sisters in the fight. So with that, Michelle, do you have any housekeeping to do?
I just have a little bit of housekeeping to do. Unfortunately, our screen share is not working on Zoom today, but if you do go to our website, all the links are in this post. You will find Annette's page, and you'll see her calendar there. If you would like to book an appointment with Annette, it's complimentary. It's 50 minutes of really good stuff with her. And again, all the links to anything that we discuss are on our website and also in this post. So please come join us. So without further ado, Jill, shall we?
Yes, let's ask Annette. Hi, Annette.
Hi, ladies. How are you today?
Well, we're so happy you're here. And I just want to say, Michelle, on my end, my Facebook, I can't see the live feed, so I won't be able to grab any questions, but I'm just going to keep rolling. So if you see anything, let me know.
If anything comes through, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Okay, here we go, Annette, fear and the survivor. So here's the thing. Before cancer, we tend to give less thoughts to things. So a headache is a headache. A pain in the back just means you need to stretch more. You got to get moving. But after cancer, almost everything feels like an alarm system. Now, I do believe that you have to champion your own body. You have to definitely, you know, get out there and say if something's bothering you. But how do we go from saying, okay, I'm going to check this out, not to level 10, my headache is a tumor? You know, how do we get there?
Okay. So that response is a fear response when, you know, when you have a headache and then you think, oh my God, maybe it's cancer, and that's what you're reacting to, is that fear response. And fear is actually arises when we have a threat of harm. And the threat could be physical, it could be emotional, it can be psychological, and the threat can be real, and it can also be imagined. Okay. So a lot of the fear that we respond to in today's society is stuff that we think might happen. And so we get ourselves worked up and we engage a fear response for something that hasn't happened yet. So we have to be aware that a lot of our fears we create ourselves. Okay. And so when we experience fear, that engages the amygdala, and the amygdala coordinates responses to really strong emotional responses like fear and anger. And so when the amygdala gets engaged, it helps. It not only coordinates the fear response, because when the MRIs are done, that's what lights up, but it also affects your memory and it affects your motivation. So what the amygdala, what it does is that when you have a stimuli that creates fear, it commits it to memory because it's a very strong emotion. And the second thing it does, it affects your motivation. So it helps motivate you to make changes to minimize having that situation occur again that caused a fear response.
Because memory is a muscle, right?
Well, yeah, memory, but when it deals to emotional things, the memory is different. It gets higher priority than something that doesn't have a huge emotional response. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, excuse me,
yeah, take your time.
So when the amygdala gets triggered, what happens is sometimes when we have something like cancer, it becomes hypersensitive, right?
Later, the sexiest beauty, since we're doing
yeah. So everything becomes like, okay, I have a headache. Everything becomes, oh my God, it's cancer. So it gets triggered. And so what the research shows is that if we can use our frontal lobe, which is our executive function center, the frontal lobe is where we have, you know, language, math, higher reasoning, self-regulation. And what the research shows is that you could talk the amygdala down.
Okay, this is it. Okay, so there we go. Now I was listening. We were like, I'm listening. I'm like, now what do we do with that? Okay, talk it down. Go ahead.
Okay, so what happens is that, like, say you have the headache and you're like, oh my God, I have a headache. What, you know, maybe this is cancer's come back. So what you do is you engage the frontal lobe and you talk to yourself and you do something like this. The frontal lobe says, okay, like the amygdala is like a scared kid. All right, so look, think of it as like a scared little kid. And think of your frontal lobe as like the calm adult, right? So your frontal lobe will say, hey, I understand we have a headache. Don't worry. You know, we're going to take pain reliever. If the headache persists until tomorrow, I will call the doctor and I'll make sure that it's nothing more serious. And so by doing that, you actually talk down the amygdala by saying, I got this. I got your back. Don't worry. I'm taking care of stuff. So you can just relax. And so what happens?
Go ahead, sorry.
So over time, what happens is that every time you get a pain, this reduces the fear response. Over time, it gets reconditioned to not overreact.
So talk to your frontal lobe like it's a child.
Okay, the frontal lobe is the adult parent.
Right.
And
the amygdala.
Scared little kid.
Okay, so talk to the amygdala like it's a child, like soothe it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Care for yourself.
Yes. And the research shows that it actually works. And over time, the amygdala won't overreact to situations like that, like every little pain, because it knows like the frontal lobe has its back. It'll take care of things if it becomes serious. It'll make the appointment with the doctor or do the research or whatever has to be done.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I did a little video this morning because I had a mammo at 7 a.m. And with COVID, I was 6 months overdue for it.
Yeah.
And I've been great. I know I am, this October, I'm like 7 years out, so
Wow.
From diagnosis. So it's great. But what happened was, normally I've noticed over the past year and two, I'm pretty good with all this stuff. But because I hadn't been in a while, today I started having those thoughts while I was driving there, like, well, wait a minute, it has been a while. So the amygdala started telling me, you haven't taken care of this. You haven't watched this. So it started taking over a little bit. Right.
So what could you, if you use your frontal lobe, what would you have said to yourself driving in the car?
I probably should have said, first of all, you're not going to know anything until you get there. So why stress yourself out? This is what I would say to a child. There's no sense. You're going to find out when you get there, one way or the other. So so calm down every minute until we get there. And guess what? My mammo was clean. So they told me right there, they're like, you're clean, you're good to go. So I spent 20 minutes in a heightened awareness that I didn't even need to, because I was telling myself stories. So I should have been like, we're solid, we're good. And you know what? If something is wrong, we're going to deal with it then.
Right.
But I didn't. What I did was like, oh my God, what's happening?
No, but now you know that you have the ability to do that. And I think it really helps if you see the amygdala is like a scared little kid. And like what would you say, as a parent, and we all have that skills, and that's self-soothing, and it changes your fear response over time, which is the most important thing.
Okay, awesome. That's a great tip. I love that. So here's another one that we get. How do we overcome, because that's more wide scope. So I want to go in a little tighter. So how do we overcome the fears that we face on the daily? For instance, am I drinking too much? I chose not to take these medicines that are after for cancer. Did I make the right choice? Should I eat only organic? Is my deodorant killing me? I'm dyeing my hair too much. That's going to give me cancer. I think that these thoughts are constant, that every decision we make is going to have a catastrophic effect one way or the other. So how do we deal with those daily thoughts?
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, basically 3 questions. And the first one is do I have the information I need to make a decision? So do you have all the information that you need to make a decision? The next one is, am I making it from the correct state of mind, right? Because sometimes we make decisions based on fear, and those are not the right decisions for us. Yeah. So we got to make sure that we make it from a calm state. And the third one is, does my decision feel right for me? Okay. So because with the last question, if you've done all that, you've done the research, you make an educated decision, you make it when you're calm. Then the third one, if it feels like the right decision, then you can let go of second guessing yourself. You're not wasting all that energy on that. You made your decision, that's done, you move on.
Okay. So don't live in it, don't go back to it. Don't keep questioning it.
If you find new research, because there's always new research that changes what you thought was true, then change it. But the thing is that you don't want to constantly be struggling, like, oh, should I get this treatment, and what if I get that? And, second guessing yourself. You want to be able to live where you can just trust your decisions, right? And so when you need to get the information, it's really important that you get sources that you can trust. You don't, because there's so much on the internet that's not true. So that's the most important thing, get information you trust. And have you guys heard of the group called the Environmental Working Group?
No.
Oh my God, I can't believe you haven't heard of it. It's abbreviated EWG.org. And it's an amazing organization because it's a nonprofit, and the mission is to help people live healthier lives in healthier environments. And the great thing is it's a nonprofit, and it's like they've done the research for you. So like when you talk about the deodorant, they have an article called, Is There a Link Between Breast Cancer and Antiperspirant? And what they do is that they go over research, documenting what's been found in that area. So when you read this article, it's like, oh, it's written in a way that's easy to understand, first of all, because a lot of research is hard to understand the way it's written. And then it gives you different points of view. It gives you different research. And from that, you can make an intelligent decision that you can feel comfortable with.
I like that because, you know, Annette, I think whether it be cancer or childbirth or a trauma or anything
Right.
that you've been through, right? Divorce, you know, death, like all of it. Again, we talk about well-meaning opinions.
Right.
But people want to throw, and it's very scary. Like, what? You're doing this? You're not eating this? You should be having this all. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I have a very rational doctor who said, you know, it made me feel a little better, but did say, be your own advocate, number one, like you said. But number two, yes, certain things can exasperate your situation, but did you do anything to fundamentally change your DNA? No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. So do the research on the ancillary. So I like that you said that, because stop throwing, people will throw kale at you and turmeric at you and be like, don't take chemo. This is the cure for all. And you're like, oh my God, I got to eat kale. No, don't do chemo. Do chemo. What am I doing? Too many radiation. You're like, you just freak out on these daily decisions. So
and the thing is that everybody's body is different. So what may cause cancer in one person is not going to affect another person. Like literally, my mom is a smoker. She's 84. She just had an MRI. Her lungs are clear, and she's been smoking like all her life.
Wow.
So it's, you know, so it's like, you know, everybody's different, and you got to do what's right for you. But I want people to really use this organization as a source, because they not only talk about, they talk about food, and they have, every year they have an annual list called the Clean 15 and the Dirty 12. And so what it does, you know, when people struggle with organic food, you know, a lot of people can't afford to buy organic food.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But on a side note, it's like, I live in California, and sometimes when I go to the store, I try to buy organic all the time. If I check the prices, sometimes the organic food is actually less than the regular food.
Really? Not in Whole Foods over here. It's ridiculous.
They have to move their organic food faster, so sometimes they price it lower to get it off the shelf quickly.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it is higher, it may be like 20 cents higher or 30 cents. Like, to me, it's like, for 30 cents, I'll get the organic strawberries. So, and this group, so in general, the group publishes an annual report, and the Clean 15 tells you what fruits and vegetables have the least amount of pesticides, that if you can't afford organic, it's okay to buy them non-organic.
Okay.
And their Dirty 12 are the most high in pesticides. So when you're eating food, you have to realize that when the crops are outside, they're spraying these pesticides with oil-based chemicals. So even if you rinse them out and wash them, it's oil-based. It's hard to get the pesticides off the fruits. Okay. And so in general, if you can't afford organic, you want to spend the money that you do have on stuff that you can't peel off the skin, like strawberries and blueberries. You can't peel the skin off. Those you should get organic. But stuff like bananas and oranges, where you're taking off the skin, if you can't get them organic, that's okay.
Right.
Because you're not eating the skin. So just in general.
So what you're saying is just be educated on decisions and feel good about them, and don't let other people's, you know, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, mess with our daily process.
Right.
You know, how you're not using clean makeup. Oh my God, you shouldn't wear deodorant. Why are you wearing deodorant? You had cancer in that arm. It's too much information for a survivor to take in. So it is, it's too much. It's overload. And the more fear we have, the more stress we have, and stress is cancer causing. So, you know, that we know. So we want to remove the blocks, remove the stress. So I like that. So you're saying just be your own advocate. And once you make your choice, that's your choice, and move on.
Yeah. If it feels right for you, then just trust it and move on. If later on you get a new study that says, you know, like coffee, one day coffee's good for you, and the next study coffee's bad for you, like, you know, it depends. So sometimes stuff like that changes. But if somebody's pushing like their belief on you, like they're really strong, I would just say, well, what are your sources for that? Like, tell me what your sources are, and if it's really valid, I'll check them out. If they're pushing a product, and the testimonials and the science are published by the same company that makes a product, I wouldn't trust that, right? Because they're just promoting their own product. But something like this organization is a nonprofit, and they do cover makeup and like sunscreen, and they cover a lot of different topics. So there's a lot of things on there that will help you as a cancer survivor, feel comfortable about buying certain products because it covers the range.
And releasing your fear on it. Like, I'm okay with not using certain organic makeups. Like, it doesn't bother me. That's my decision. I don't want anybody to put their decision on me.
Right.
And I'm fine with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So everybody's different. You do what feels right for you and comfortable for you. But like once you decide that, just move on and don't waste your time second guessing yourself.
Yeah. Like, thank you so much. Move next, right? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And then another thing I think that we do as survivors or anyone that's been through trauma is we do struggle with being more present and not letting those fears kind of creep in. So, you know, it's like almost like, I don't know if anyone out there has experienced this, like you're going about your day and like, this is a really great day and you're enjoying it. And then all of a sudden the trauma of cancer or whatever you've had will creep into your brain a little bit. You're like, wait, having a really good time, but I had cancer and this could come back. Like all of a sudden you're just like, why am I even thinking this thought? So is there a way for us to be more present without letting those negative, creepy thoughts whittle their way in?
Yes, the best thing you can do when you have that experience, when your thoughts go into something that is creating that fear response is to pay attention to your direct sensory experience.
I'm listening.
So the way you access the present moment is through your senses.
Okay.
Okay. So either like maybe just do something simple like run everybody do, just feel your feet on the ground and wiggle your toes. Just do that right now.
Okay.
Just doing something simple like that can bring you back into your body. And then once you sense what's going on in your body, the good thing about being present is like maybe if you're worried about something in the future and you bring yourself back to your body through your sensory experience, you can say, hey, you know, I'm realizing I have a lot of tension in my shoulders. I didn't realize how stressed I was. And then you can do something to take care of that. Like maybe I'll soak in the tub for half an hour to release this muscle tension. So what it does being present, what it does, it helps you do better self-care, right? Because you're more aware of what's going on in your body right now. And when you practice mindfulness and presence, it reduces your stress because you're not depressed about what happened in the past and you're not worried about what may happen in the future. All your attention is focused on the present moment and these other two factors fall away. So through the present moment, this is where our life is happening right here, right now. And so if you can access the present moment, then this is where we have the joy and the love and all the good stuff in our life is happening in front of us. And so if you're worried about the past or the future, you're missing out on your life in front of you.
And I love that. And I want to tie it up with, you said one thing that really stuck out to me. And I was like, whoa, you said when you're craving a fear response. Is that because it's a habit? We're just like afraid to be present and enjoy because we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop on something that's happened from the past and anticipating it's going to happen in the future. So is that like in a bubble, is that just something that it's like being in a relationship where you kind of crave drama, even though you're like, I want a drama-free relationship, but you attract more drama in. So that craving a fear response, is that a comfort zone?
We become more sensitive. So I guess part of it is our negative bias, where we tend to focus on negative things. We talked about that in the past. And so in order to shift out of always focusing on negative things and building up the drama inside of us, we remember the amygdala serves a purpose of having you experience the fear so you can make changes. It'll motivate you to change your life. Okay. So again, you can use that energy to say, hey, I'm going to do something. So I'm not constantly worried about this. If you can take care of it, do. But if there's nothing you can do about it, it always helps just to do the deep breathing. And I can do a quick breathing exercise that helps calm you down if you're feeling agitated inside because of the fear response. I can do a quick breathing activity that anyone can do that helps you. It activates the relaxation response.
So let's wrap up with that. Why don't you take us out? Here's what we'll do. I just want to tell everyone that Annette is going to be back with us at the end of October. And we're going to have plenty of surprises, like I said, and wonderful things through October to celebrate all the wonderful fighters and survivors. So Annette, that would be wonderful if you would take us out of this program with a nice breath that we can relax a little bit.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take 5 deep breaths, and then we're going to inhale through our nose and we're going to exhale through our mouth. And our exhalations are going to be longer than our inhalations. So what that's doing, when you exhale longer, you activate the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve activates the relaxation response. So when you're breathing, just let your body go. When you're exhaling, just imagining all the tension coming out of the body, because it's physically impossible to be tense and then have the deep breathing. They're totally two opposite. You either have one or the other. So the deep breathing will activate that. So everybody close your eyes and take a moment to feel your feet on the ground, wiggle your toes, feel yourself completely present in your body. And then I want you to just take a deep breath in, do it as deeply as you want. And then at the top of the breath, just pause for a moment and then exhale through your mouth. And just release everything that you have inside, any tension inside. And then again, inhale through the nose, pause. And when you pause, I don't want you to have any tension. You're not tightening anything. So when you're pausing, everything's loose and relaxed. And then exhale through your mouth. Make the exhalation as long as possible. Then again, inhale. Pause. Exhale. Lengthen that exhalation. Again, inhale. Pause. Exhale. Make it long. Release any tension. And then one more time, inhale. Hold. Then exhale through your mouth. And then slowly open your eyes. How did that feel?
Felt great. Thank you, Annette. Now we're going to go relax, and we're not going to be afraid, and we're going to have a great day, and we're going to see you the end of October.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.